long-winded, running through this life like it was mine. Never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees on the path to my own destruction or success. But what is a mistake without the lesson? See, the best teacher in life is your own experience. None of us know who we are until we fail. They say every man is defined by his reaction to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you do, homie, give your heart to it and stay strong. Stay strong. Stay strong.
With me and you know it. Yeah. Look, lot of niggas fail, but I won't. Lot of niggas fold, but I cope. Lot of niggas gone, but I'm home. Lot of niggas off, but I'm on. Lot of niggas lost on this road. Couple niggas gave up they goal. Gang of niggas traded they soul. With me, I'm standing on 10 toes.
Yeah, this is the worst block I ever. Golly. Man, them niggas is out of pocket, so. That makes sense. Oh, damn. Double entendre. Guess me as if I was a bar, nigga. Niggas out of pocket, but we hit pocket, bitch. Inside, I had a dream. Felt so good, it had to be me alone. Things were getting paid. Man, oh man, we had it made. Someone's gonna roll with me.
Yo, what is up? My name is Demetrius, aka D. Jamal Will. This is one of the first times I'm kind of coming on YouTube and talking about some of my film photography. This past week or so, I met up with a close friend of mine, Mace Trigger, and with him and me and my girlfriend, Syra, aka Life Spectra, who is also the one filming right now. Thank you very much. We met up to do a nice little shoot. The shoot was really cool. Mace had this nice idea to put a backdrop in the woods. We ended up pulling up to this location that I like to go shoot at. It's nice, it's private, unless there's some disc golfers trying to, strike you in the face. No, but we ended up meeting up over there, and the film I decided to go ahead and shoot with, I shot with Portra 400, and I actually ended up shooting with CineStill 800 in the day because I just, I figured I can turn the blue back pretty well. It didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to work, but all of the pictures still came out really, really well. I shot a little bit of black and white on my 35, and those I actually ended up not pushing. I accidentally shot it at ISO 100, which is stop and a half overexposed. It was a mistake I found out after I pulled the roll out, because I just forgot what roll I had in that camera. But those photos came out really, really well. Even though they were overexposed, I still like them a lot. I ended up developing this film as well, which has been a little bit of a process I kind of learned throughout this quarantine, how to develop color film. Shout out to CineStill for having a really simple process to kind of make that shit all happen. Developed it in my kitchen. The process is pretty simple. You have your dark bag, grab your film, grab your container, and your reel. You zip your dark bag all up, get everything nice and sealed. Putting film on a reel has to be one of the most frustrating things I have to deal with. Every single time, there's always something that is just irritating. This time, luckily, I got it on super easily. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's the worst thing that ever happens. It's something that you kind of got to deal with. But once you're into the developing process and you've gotten used to how these chemicals work, it's so much fun to take a picture and then bring it home, kind of mix up some chemicals in your kitchen, and then you have this beautiful image that's now drying and ready to be scanned or printed or anything, any way that you kind of want to showcase that art form. But it's so cool to just walk it through the whole process from idea to physical objects in your hand. And that's something, I found that I've loved about the film process. I appreciate everything that I've learned through that. But yeah, that's the film process. I'm gonna now talk about more of the actual things that you're doing. So when you're doing the film, it's a lot of people either just put in the bathtub, but basically the temperature is what really matters. You want to keep the temperature pretty consistent throughout the whole thing. I think it's 102 degrees or 39 degrees Celsius for color film, at least with the Cinestill. So basically what you want to do is get your developer, and you got your Blix, and then you got a stabilizer at the end. You take your developer first, or after you've already put everything in the dark bed, you take your developer first, put it in, you hold it for the time. It's about 3 minutes, depending on how strong your developer is, or if it's new, fresh, whatever. You're doing all that. You want to agitate pretty much the whole time, or agitate intermediately, or the whole time, just depending on what your time. There's different ways to do this. That's what's so cool about film, is like there's different little things that you can do that's going to change how the outcome of the film. But if you want the film to just kind of do what it's supposed to do, follow the instructions, like follow. I mean, you can try to follow my instructions, or you can, really actually look at the instructions. It's super simple. I'm just giving you the gist of everything that's going on in this video. Back to the point. So after the developer, you want to go ahead and pour that out. You're going to pour what's called the Blix Blitz. The Blix bleach, not Bleaks bitch. That's not okay. the Blix bleach. The Blix bleach. All right, you're gonna go ahead and put the Blix bleach in there, and you're gonna have that sitting there for about 8 minutes, doing the same thing, same agitations. If you've been doing 30-second agitations, continue doing 30-second agitation. If you're doing constant agitation, continue your constant agitation. After the 8 minutes, you're gonna take that out, rinse it, throw the stabilizer on her, throw some photo flow on that bitch. If that's what you want to do, I recommend it. I've actually found out that shit works hella nice. Put the photo flow on and hang it to dry, and just let it sit and dry, and you'll see your beautiful images that have now come on there. And one thing I've also learned through trial and error is make sure your photos dry. I've gotten way too excited before and like hang them to dry and then gone and be like, fuck it, I'm ready to scan. I gotta scan these look tight, and gone and scan them or mess with them, and they've been sticky, and I've ruined photos because of impatience. It's like this whole process is one of patience. From taking the picture, you only have 12 photos on a roll if you're shooting some medium format, sometimes less than that. Like, this is a serious patience and just like a process that you go through when you're shooting film, and it pays off when it pays off, and you kick yourself when it doesn't. Back on topic. So after developing and drying, next process is the scanning. Scanning is another thing. It's another one of these steps where it's like you got hella options to be doing with scanning. Like, there's so many different ways you can scan this film, and like there are far greater ways to do it, and there's ways that you can just do in your living room and call it a day. The way that I have come to do my scanning is I use this Epson V700 or V650. I use an Epson V650. I usually scan on either Epson 2 or Silverfast, just depending on what mood I am in that day and what type of process I'm trying to do. For these photos specifically, I took it in the Lightroom and I used Negative Lab Pro. Negative Lab Pro in the past has worked beautifully with pictures, and sometimes like I use Negative Lab Pro and I don't know, just it didn't do what it was supposed to do. I'll try to redo it. I'll try to change. I'll watch a YouTube video. Sometimes it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. And I don't know if that's a mistake I made in the scanning before, or if it's a mistake I'm doing once I got in the Lightroom. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. So these photos, I ended up doing that. I liked them, but they were kind of too blue. The colors didn't really look right. I tried to change them with Negative Lab Pro, but it just still was not working for me. So I ended up switching that up and re-scanning them again using only Silverfast and doing most of the editing in there, scanning them as a negative versus scanning them as a positive before, and then bringing it into Lightroom and redoing my edits and editing them the way that I wanted them to look. And the results from doing it that way, they're exactly what I wanted from it. There's no knock to Negative Lab Pro. There's times where I use Negative Lab Pro and I'm just like, damn. And then there's times I use negative left pro, and I'm like, well, I got to do this again. And that's the process. That's part of life, or that's part of, what I've been doing. So after the scanning process, we come to the end where I set up a camera and my girlfriend hops behind it, and then my roommate helps me with the microphone, and then I now talk to you. So that's the next process of creating this whole thing. And now you're part of it. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of this and sticking to the end. My name is Demetrius, or D. Jamal Will. Also like to say thank you to my girlfriend, Life Spectra, for shooting this wonderful video. She did all of the shooting and editing for this video. Really appreciate it. Also, big thank you to my boy Teo for hooking it up with the microphone and also this great gear. Shout out Unlimited Inspiration, as you see behind. Check it out at Unlimited Inspiration members. You can follow my girlfriend at Life _Spectra, and you can follow me at D.JamalWill. Also follow Mace Trigger at Mace Trigger. Thank you everybody that was involved in this. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm done.
You sell that to somebody, I bet they use it, they rap.
So you trying to get land.
Exactly, homie. A real asset. Take care of my people.